Another day, another phone. Welcome everybody to All Tech Canada. Today I'm gonna be reviewing the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2S. To begin with, I'm gonna go with the specs of the phone. So the phone has a 6.99 IPS LCD display. It's one of those 9 to 18 aspect ratio. It's a 1080p plus display, so it's 1080 by 2160. And for those who care about the PPI, it's 403 PPI. And it has Gorilla Glass 4 up front, and at the back you have a ceramic back, which is actually really nice. It's one of the nicest design phones I've ever used. When it comes to the internals, the phone has a Snapdragon 845 processor. It comes in 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM, 64 or 128, or even 256 gigabyte of storage, and all of that is powered by a 3400 milliamp battery. When it comes to the cameras, it has a dual camera, so both are 12 megapixels. However, there's a hair right there. Go. One is a regular camera, and the other one is an optical zoom one. Up front, you have a camera that's hidden up front, right here at the corner, and that one is a 5 megapixel camera. And other than that, the phone has dual speakers, so you get the bottom one and the one on top when you're watching videos to work together. And it comes with the wireless charging, and that's a Qi wireless charging, so it works pretty much with all charging pads out there. So I used this phone for about 3 weeks to a month, and I really like the phone. It's one of the fastest phones I've ever used. The UI, yeah, so I'm turning on the screen without pressing the button, because once you press the fingerprint scanner, it turns on automatically. So it's a very zippy phone. It's very fast. The screen, while it's not an AMOLED screen, it's an LCD, and it's not quad HD like we're seeing with LGs and other high-end phones. It's still 1080p, which is fine. And it's an LCD, which means blacks are not fully blacks. They're kind of like this grayish color, dark gray. It's not a big deal considering the price of the phone, since this phone comes at a price of 420 to 500 US dollars, around 520 to 600 Canadian. You can find it online in numerous places like Amazon. So other than that, we've seen the specs, so I'm gonna take this a bit to the side. Maybe for those of you who want to watch the specs still, here you go. Other than that, the phone, many will complain about the UI, I don't know what they call this UI, MUUI or whatever it is. To be honest, you get used to the UI in a day or two. I wasn't really bothered with the UI, especially with the newest update. I actually find the visuals really appealing. So like, you have those big icons, you have the big status bar right here for the brightness. You can pull it down for more. One thing I really liked is when you have a notification like this, so you can, usually in Android you can do it by swiping a bit, and you get those reminder after a certain amount of time. So here snoozed for 1 hour, but with this one, if you swipe left, you get it either ways. If you want to get rid of that notification, you just swipe the other way and it goes away. And I find that's neat, because with the regular Android notification, I never use the snooze at all, because it's not very easy to get there. With this one, it's right in front of you. You can swipe left, you get it, or if you want to get rid of the notification, you just swipe the other way. Yeah, so I resetted the phone before I started this review because I don't want to have like any accidents of showing personal information or phone numbers and so on. So this phone is resetted now. And yeah, another thing that I like in this phone is the multitask. So not the multitask, sorry, the gesture all screen mode. So when you go to the settings, you can pick this option in the settings. You can pick the full display mode, and pretty much that takes out the buttons. So this is the normal one, what you get, and this is the full screen. Well, I know how to use this, so I'm not gonna go through the tutorials. So pretty much instead of doing the buttons, you have gestures. And honestly, I've seen LG and Samsung and even Google try to do the gesture things, but Xiaomi did it better than all of them. So now we have completely full screen. There are no junk at the bottom at all, like Google. Keep the small pill thing, which is ugly. You have the full screen. If I want to go back, I just swipe from the right and it goes back. If I want to go home, swipe from the bottom and it goes home. If I want the multitask, you just go up and keep pressing. I'm going to put the phone a bit more higher so you can see it. Just keep it and keep on it, and then you get all the apps. And similarly, you want to go back home, you just swipe up. It's once you know how the gestures, it's super easy to use, and I really enjoy using it. And the benefit, you get a full screen. So, well, I don't have any internet connected with this one, but as you can see, there are no buttons that takes out from any space from the display. Same thing with all of them. UI camera, okay, whatever. Yeah, it's once you get the hang of it, it's very intuitive to use, and it's very enjoyable. Now the question comes whether I would recommend it. Yes, I would recommend this phone. However, the question is, if somebody has the Xiaomi Mi Mix, the first gen, not the first gen, sorry, the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2, would it be worth the upgrade? Now, the Mi Mix 2 comes with the Snapdragon 835 processor, and to be honest, up front, they're pretty much the same phone. They look exactly the same up front. However, you turn it back, and while both have the ceramic back, one has one camera, the other has the regular camera plus the zoom camera. Now, even the the regular camera on the Mi Mix 2S is actually better. Unfortunately, I deleted all the pictures, but it's actually a good camera. It's not as good as LG's and Samsung when it comes to the rear camera or iPhones, but the camera is still good, especially when you're paying 400 to 500 US dollars. Honestly, this phone is when it comes to bargain price, it's one of the best you can get right now. What else? Yeah, so if you have, the difference between them is pretty much the 2 and the 2S is the processor, which on a regular use you won't notice the difference. I didn't notice any huge speed difference between the two phones. The camera, and yes, the camera is the back camera. The front camera, I felt it's the same one. The back camera is actually better on this one, on the 2S, than the 2. But other than that, if you have the 2, just stick with it. It's a nice phone. Also, a design difference I noticed. I don't know if it shows right here, probably not, but the 2 is actually a bit slimmer than the 2S. I think that's because the wireless charging coil would probably take it's not a huge difference, it's like a millimeter, but it's a bit thicker. On the other hand, the 2S is a bit narrower. So yeah, probably can't see it right here. It's a tiny bit narrower, a few millimeters, but in general, both phones feel great in the hand. both phones, the finish on them, especially that back, is amazing. Sure, it grabs tons of fingerprints, but it's worth it, I think. So yeah, so if you have the two, just be happy with it until the Mi Mix 3 comes. But if you're looking for a phone, you just broke your phone, then yeah, you can get this one from GearBest and Amazon, and the price is between $400 to $500, which is a really good bargain price for a Snapdragon 845 processor phone with 6 gigs of RAM. The things that I didn't like about this phone. Now, as I said, I've used it for 3 weeks to a month, and I really enjoyed this phone. It's very fast. However, one thing that I didn't like about this phone is the screen. That's one of the things I didn't like about it, and that's a personal preference because I don't like LCDs. I prefer AMOLED screens. With AMOLEDs, you get the blacks are like real blacks, completely black. While with LCDs, the blacks are those gray, dark gray blacks. So I prefer AMOLEDs than LCDs. Even though this is a very good LCD, the screen quality on this one is really good. Another thing, it's a UI thing. Now, this phone, sometimes when you're using it and want to select something, it just highlights the word. So I'll try to make something. It doesn't go. So sometimes instead of like with normal Android, when you want to select something, you press on it and you get those two selection bubbles, so they can drag it. For some reason, sometimes I wasn't getting the bubbles that makes you select certain paragraph or certain bunch of words. You don't get that for some reason. Sometimes you just get the word highlighted and then nothing. So that's one of the things. It's a UI thing. I hope they fix it in some update later on. But other than that, the phone, it's for the price, it's amazing. If you're looking for a phone, you don't want to pay that much. You don't want to pay those $999 phone prices. Go for this one. Also, make sure it's compatible with your frequencies, with your LTE frequency or 4G, 3G, whatever frequencies. I've been using it in Canada, and it supports all major carriers' frequencies, even with the LTE. So it supports TELUS, Rogers, Fido, Bell, all of these guys. This one is good to go with it. And also make sure you pick the international version or global version, whatever they call it, because the one that's exclusively sold in China doesn't get the Play Store, so you gotta jump hoops and so on to get it. So make sure you get the global version, not the one exclusively sold in China, because China, due to government regulations, they're not allowed to put the Play Store into the phone. While the global version, you can see the Play Store app, so you can download right away from it. Another thing I didn't like, well, for me, I didn't really bother, but for many, it might be an issue, which is the front-facing camera, which in order to make the phone kind of bezel-less front top, and you have a small bottom bezel right here, they put all the equipments at the bottom. So you have the notification light, the LED notification light, the front-facing camera. They're all tinted in black, so you can, when the phone is off, you don't see any of them. But they're there. The proximity sensor, all of them are down there at the bottom. And the front-facing camera is one of them right here. It's at the corner. And many of you guys who do the Snapchat and Instagram might be bothered, because when you take a front-facing camera, like what we're gonna do here, you gotta go, and here I am. So if you're grabbing the camera normally, it's the phone tells you to rotate the phone. So you gotta go, oops, and I turned the phone completely. Press the, here you go. So yeah, even the phone tells you to rotate the camera, to rotate the phone to get the shot. But for me, I don't take so many selfies. But for those who take selfies and so on, if you want to get a selfie that looks good and so on, you gotta do that. Yeah, otherwise, you're gonna get a selfie of your nostrils. Um, yeah. So other than that, if you're if you are looking for a phone with a really good price, you don't want to pay a lot of money. This is a very good phone to buy. If you want to go, well, if you have money and you want to, it's up to you really. Uh, Pretty much that's everything I have. So in summary, great phone, great price, very fast, very snappy. What else? Camera location might bother many people, but it didn't bother me, to be honest. I mean, I don't take so many selfies, and even when I do, I don't mind. I keep clicking the power button. I don't mind switching it to get that nice selfie. Well, that's not a selfie. I don't mind to flip it to get that selfie. So it's really up to the person. Um, what else? Yeah. Um, yeah, the camera's right here. Other than that, the screen, I wish it was an LCD, and also I wish they put a headphone jack, because this one does not come with a headphone jack. It comes with an adapter in the box, but still, I don't carry the adapter with me, so when I need a headphone in a phone, if I need to use my headphone in my phone, most of the time I don't get to use it, and then I switch to the S8, which I'm recording this video from. That's one of the things, and also it doesn't have any expandable storage. So whichever storage you get when you buy, you're stuck with that. So so for me, for example, I'm okay with 64. It would be nicer to have more than 64. You can't do it with this one. If you're picking the 64, you can't have any expansion, so you're stuck with the 64. So make sure you look at the storage capacity that fits your needs. Other than that, great phone. I really can't, for the price, I really can't say many negative things about it, to be honest. Yeah, so if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them down there at the bottom. If you have any questions, you can send them to me at Altec Canada. So it's at Altec Canada. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, you do the plus button, whatever. Yeah. And I hope for you guys to have a nice day. I don't know. Have a good one. Bye. Great phone.